going to tell you today the story of Zhao Zheng, or Shi Huangdi as he came to be called, which is actually a title that means First Emperor of Unified China. He founded the Qin dynasty that gave China its name. He assumed the throne at the age of 13 and ruled from 259 to 210 BC, and during his rule, he brought all the warring states to heel and transformed the diverse Chinese territories into one empire obedient to his will. A good example of this is when Shi Huangdi decreed that Chinese writing had to be uniform. That meant that all words with the same meaning across all the different languages in the empire now had to be written with the exact same character instead of the ones that they were used to using. And because he was emperor with generals and really well-trained soldiers, people couldn't exactly say no. You would best know Shi Huangdi for his initiation of the construction of the Great Wall of China. He built an early version of the Grand Canal and was excellent at suppressing any and all voices of dissent. He rewarded citizens who snitched on one another, and some historians claim that he rounded up 460 Confucius scholars who disagreed with his ruling philosophy and buried them alive. One of the reasons I'm telling you about him is because I went back to look to see who was the first head of government to limit access to books. And historians all have all sorts of documentation on the fact that Shi Huangdi, well, when he saw books he didn't like, they got banned. In fact, I have found references to an entire part of his reign being referred to as the burning of books and burying of philosophers, which makes for an entertaining thriller, but a horrific thing to live through. In his quest to control thoughts and ideas, Shi Huangdi ordered almost all history of China destroyed and insisted all other books that were found be collected and burned. And if citizens didn't, they were put to death or banished to work on the Great Wall. And well, just because everybody else had to get rid of their books, well, that didn't mean Shi Huangdi did. I mean, he was emperor. He actually kept an entire collection of them in his own library, and it wasn't until his death that he had ordered that they were all destroyed, so that all records of the time before his empire and any account unfavorable to him would be removed from existence. He actually believed that future generations would be taught the history of the world started with him. Obviously, history hasn't forgotten. And in a world this big, it kind of seems crazy that even someone that powerful would think it would. But he did, and the destruction he caused to control what ideas people had access to in order to consolidate and hold on to power, that's an example everybody needs to learn from. Because governments who are looking to take power and suppress citizens' rights, they always go after access to books and words they don't like. And it's easy to shrug off a few book bans by saying, it's not my district, or not my state, or it's only a few schools, a few libraries, what's the big deal? The big deal is the same match Shi Huangdi struck over 2,000 years ago has been lit again, and that fire will keep spreading if we don't step up and put it out. Now is the time to grab a bucket, to hold on to a fire hose, show up to a local school board meeting. And when someone is loud about the need to ban books, you and your family, your friends, the students, other people that are advocates in that area need to be louder. We need to create an army that even Shi Huangdi's generals couldn't have defeated and stop the fire before it spreads even more. Because access to books and ideas and words, they are essential to democracy. And I don't know about you, but I don't plan on letting them burn that down without a fight.